Hello and welcome to a tutorial from the shopdesigns.com. I am Morgan and I am here today to give you a basic introduction into Photoshop and how the program is used when applying it to the templates that you can get from the shopdesigns.com web store. First of all, let's take a look at what we're going to be creating. Now, this is a trendy thank you card, and it started out as a blank template from the shopdesigns.com, and now it's morphed with some photos added into something really beautiful and really awesome for your clients or your company. We've got the front here, we've got the inside, and we've got the back. Now, I'm going to take you through each process step by step for each piece of the template. And by the end of this, you should have the tools that you need to put your own images in and really impress your clients and make a good statement for your company. So I've already got Photoshop open and ready to go for us. Before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about the file structure. When you download a template from the shopdesigns.com, you're going to get a file that's going to be named something like this, and it's going to be a .zip. When you double click that, it'll unzip into a folder, and inside that folder you're going to have some files called PSD. You may have one, you may have multiples depending upon the template that you get from the site. PSD stands for Photoshop documents. Now, these are going to be the files that we're actually going to be dealing with in Photoshop for this tutorial. You're also going to get a fonts and instructions text document. If you open that, you'll see the fonts that are used in your document, and you'll have to have these installed before you open it so that you can edit the text. You can download them from dafont.com. It's a website that offers free fonts. You can see the item that you purchased. You can see the category that your item was in, and you also get some instructions for pasting images into the templates. I'm going to close that, and to get started, I just want to open all these documents, all these Photoshop documents. I'm going to double click them, and Photoshop's going to open them all in new tabs. I've got the front here, I've got the inside, and I've got the back. Now the front's a little bit tight in here for me. I want to zoom out a little bit, and to do that on a Mac, I'm going to hold Command and press the minus key. If you're on a PC, you want to use Control. Now I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to be using Command the whole time, but anytime I say Command, just substitute that with Control, and anytime I say Option, substitute that for Alt if you are on a PC. So to zoom in, I can use Command plus, but it's going to come up as equal, but it's the plus and equal key on your keyboard. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, and let's talk a little bit about the structure and the way these files are built. If you're using Photoshop CS, Creative Suite, you're going to see groups, and this is the way we do them on the shopdesigns.com. You've got your text group, images group, and your elements group. If you're using Photoshop Elements, you won't have these groups, but you'll have all these other layers just listed out for you in a straight path. So let's talk a little bit about each of these and what they are. The text layer is pretty self-explanatory, but it's the text that's going to reside in the document. Now to test out and see, let's see what this is. If you look to the left of your layers, you'll see these eye icons. If you click that and it disappears, that means it's hiding whatever's on that layer. And if you click it again, it'll come back, and that means it's going to show it. So it's showing and it's hiding. So this is the thank you, I know that. This is the image inside the images group. This gray area is where we're going to be putting our image. This is where the designated space is. So if I click that, it'll hide that. I'm going to bring it back. And then in the elements, these are all the design elements. They'll vary depending on what template you've got, but for me it's the chocolate elements and it's the turquoise elements. And I also get a background layer, and this is just a solid color that's going to reside in the background, and it's just a wash to finish out the design. So now that we know a little bit about the structure and where things are placed, I want to focus on this images group, because this is where we're going to be putting our images in. Now I need to open up the images that I'm going to put in my document. So what I'm going to do is go to File, Open, and I'm going to select all three of these and just go ahead and get them open. And then Photoshop's going to open them into 3 different tabs for me. I've got them all here. This is the one I want for the front of my thank you card. So it's just one layer, it's just one image. Here it is. And to show you how to do this, the first time through, I'm going to use only the mouse and clicking the menus to give you a foundation of where things are. Then the second time through, when we do it for the middle of the card and the back, I'm going to show you some keyboard shortcuts to hopefully speed up your workflow and just make things a little bit easier. So what I want to do is I want to select and I want to copy this so that we can use it in our front. So I'm here in my document. I'm going to go to select menu. I'm going to hit select all, and now we get this dotted line that's surrounding my document. And in the industry, we call this the marching ants, but it's also known as the marquee selection. So now that you see that it's going all the way around, that means that basically it's all selected. So I'm going to go up to edit, and I'm going to go to copy. Now it's copied, nothing happens, but it's copied and it's ready for us to paste in, as long as we don't copy something else in the meantime. So I'm going directly back over here to my front, and here we go. If I go to edit and I just paste, well, that's not what we want. It's pasted basically over everything. It's not inside what we need. So what I want to do is undo all this and get back. I can hit step backward, and there it is. It's gone. So what I want to do is get it inside this gray box. So I'm going to come over here, and we're going to right click this, but we want to make sure to right click right on this image, right on this layer. And then I'm going to get a context menu, and it's going to say select pixels here. This is the one we want to select. And you'll see the marquee selection comes up, the marching ants, around just this gray area. So I'm going to go to edit. I want to paste this into, I've got a paste special menu. If you're using an older version of Photoshop than me, I've got CS5, but if it's an older version for you, you'll probably have these paste in place, paste into, and paste outside inside this menu. But I've got paste special, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to paste into, and that's looking much better. That's actually what we were expecting to happen in the first place. And if I click and I move this around, you'll notice that the image is still there. It's just hidden. And what's helping us do that is a little trick over here that Photoshop does, and it's called a layer mask. This black and white area directly to the side of our image layer is a layer mask that's allowing it to hide it in a non-destructive way so that the image can hover around behind and we can move it around without losing any data. And one thing we want to know about layer mask, because this may become a problem for you and you just need to know it's there even if you don't want to use it, is in the middle area here. It's basically blank, but if I click, I get a little link that'll come up. Now what this means is now that the image and the layer mask are tied together. So if I click now and drag around, I'm dragging them both. I've got the layer mask as well as my image, and I'm moving it around. So I want to make sure that I undo that because I don't want to move it around, and I'm going to unselect this. Now also, if you notice there's a little box around here, this lets me know that I'm selecting the image. But if I were to click over here, now I've got a box around the layer mask, and I can move this, and I'm actually moving the mask. So the image is staying in place and the mask is moving around it. So that's not what I want either. I'm going to step backwards. I'm going to get back here. And one problem that I see is the image is inside the gray box where we want it, but it's not scaled just right. It's not what I want it to look like. So what I want to do is show you how to transform this down and get it a little bit smaller so that it fits into our space. So with the image selected here, I'm going to go to edit, transform, I'm going to hit scale. Then I'm going to get this bounding box that comes up around it. And you can drag these to scale, but the first time I want to show you how to do it using the tool menu, just so you know that the option's there. And there's two specific things you want to pay attention to: the width and the height. Now with photography, you never want to stretch your photos, or at least most times you don't want to. So we're going to use this little link right here that's going to tie them together and constrain our proportions. And it's at 100% right now, but I think 75 should do the trick. So if I hit 75, and then I'm going to hit the check mark and move it up a bit, and that's looking pretty good. That's actually what I want it to look like. So I think we've got the front pretty much finished. The only thing I can think to do now is go ahead and hide this layer, this gray layer, because it's back there, but we don't need it anymore. So we want to hide that, make sure our image is shown, and that's pretty much it. We're going to move on to the next section.